Now, I'm honored to introduce today's master speaker, Christian Routin. Christian Routin is a consultant trainer, executive coach. He's a transformational speaker, facilitator in cross-cultural soft skills and happiness. And he's got two masters, one in business administration and another master's in political science. And he's a cross-cultural baby. He's French and he has Vietnamese as well, and is a world expert in Vietnamese working culture. Now, cultural differences affect every leader and coaches all over the world, and we simply can't afford sort of the luxury of being unaware or ignoring them, because those differences are impacting every second of our interactions and our coaching. Well, today, Christian will help us to understand how to achieve success through cross-cultural coaching and using culture as a tool to achieve business objectives and so much more. So without further ado, let me pass you on to Christian Routin. A very warm welcome, Christian. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Peter and Guy, for your introduction. So let's start. And let's start with the start. And if we start with the start, we have to talk about life. And if you're alive, you know that life is about change, right? And as a coach, of course, what we're doing is that we're supporting that change. We're facilitating that change, right? Through our questioning and the following up of our coaching. Life is change, and life is about also choices that we make, right? And the choices of what? The choices of what experiences we want to make, right? So life, for me, if I had to define it, it's going to be with these three elements. So knowing that it is impacting everything we do, as well as a coach. So it's very important to start with that point. Now, if you are an expat and you're moving to another country, or if you are, let's say, a Vietnamese and you decide to work for an international company, or let's say you are a manager and you're leading a meeting and working with colleagues from different countries and cultures, it's about change as well. Because you have to go from one place that you know, I would say a place where you are comfortable, a comfort zone, into a challenging zone. Now, the change is precisely when you pass from one status to another, one state to the next state. Now, the problem with cross-cultural is what? I will ask you a few questions now to understand that very well. So the first question I'm going to ask you is culture something you can touch? Is it tangible? Let's say, for example, my glasses. Is it something you can see, you can touch, or not? Just answer me.
So maybe the food. Maybe the food is culture.
So very good. So food is something you can touch, right? You can feel, right? So it means that maybe a part of a culture is visible, correct? So food, what else is visible? Very, very good answer. What else is visible in culture?
Gestures.
Gestures, behaviors, dressing, absolutely. The music, we just heard some music, so this is also culture. So clearly here, what you're telling me is that one part of the culture is visible, right? We can experience it with our five senses. And the list is very long. So architecture, you can feel also culture. It could be a fabric. The silk, for example, in Asia is something you're going to feel on your body. So the five senses will help us to experience that visible part of the culture. Now, is there a part which is not tangible as well? What do you think?
The way you interpret things.
The perception, exactly. And your perception and the way you interpret things, you analyze, you perceive things, right? And that perception is based on what? What would be the root of your perception?
Beliefs.
Very good. Belief.
Values.
Values, very good. So cultural values, religious values, moral values.
Experiences.
Experiences, absolutely. Assumptions, what you assume is true or not true, right? So all these elements are not visible, they're not tangible. And in your opinion, which part of the culture is the most important, the most impactful when you get into the country, another culture? Is it the hidden part, intangible, not tangible part, or the tangible part, in your opinion? Which one is most impactful when you interact with a new country or a person from a different culture?
Intangible.
Intangible, absolutely. So it means that we compare culture with an iceberg. You have a visible part, which is roughly 10% to 30%, and the intangible part, which is invisible, 70, 90%. And the most impactful part of that culture is the invisible part, right? So it means when you step into a new country or new culture, that part is impacting you. But is it visible? No. Are you aware of it? That's my question. Do you know this? Can you tell me, for example, the list of cultural values of the country you moved in? Can you do that?
A little bit.
A little bit, part of it, absolutely. You may name few of it, but if I had to ask you the full list, it's going to be difficult. Now, my second question is, are you aware of your own culture as well? Are you able to do that also for your own culture? If I'm asking you, for example, the list of the cultural values of your country or origin, are you able to do that very accurately?
Not 100%.
Not 100% as well, right? So it's going to be challenging. Now, why is it challenging? That's my question. In your opinion, what makes it so difficult for you to be aware of all these assumptions, beliefs, values? Because it is yours. You were born with it.
Because you're,
yes. Tell me.
you're part of it.
It's part of you. You're part of it and it's part of you, right?
Yep.
It is something which is unconscious. It has been acquired through your social environment, through your family, through the school, through the interaction with all the people around you since your birth, right? That's why it is ingrained in you, but it's difficult for you to say what is what, to define it precisely. When do you become aware of your own culture? When that moment happens, there's a moment in your life where you become aware of your own culture, more than if you were staying into your country. When will you start to become aware of your own culture and all these hidden elements of the culture?
When you live it.
Exactly. When you are living your country or culture of origin and you are facing another country, another culture. Because then you start to see what?
It's different.
Is different. You start to experience the cultural differences, and then you become more aware of who you are, and then you start to discover that it's not everywhere like in your country.